And what is up, everyone? I am Joe DeHoyos. I am host of Beyond the Woodline. Real quick, before we get the show started, I always have to give my little spiel here on what I do. And for you guys who don't know, I am part of the JRG, which is the Jevning Research Group. It's a Bigfoot group here in the United States, and we have teams in Washington State, New York State, Ohio, Michigan, Tennessee, Baltimore, well, Maryland, California, Oregon, um, Oklahoma, and of course here in Texas. There's probably a couple other states I'm missing. But if you guys are interested and you want to help out research, we'd be more than happy to add you to the team. Um, you don't have to go out into the field. We don't require that. We don't even require you having to go out into the field once a month or 6 times a year or whatever. You do what you can do, and if that means research from behind the computer, on your phone, you can find spots for us. You can find witnesses. Um, we take all walks of lives, and all your expertise. We can use it. Uh, any advice, suggestion you guys have, we'll certainly listen to them. So if you guys are interested and you want to help out, just give me a shout, and we'll get you started. And just shoot me an email beyond.woodline@gmail.com. And with that being said, I know you guys don't tune in to hear me talk. I've got two guests, uh, Shaunell. It's Shaunell, right?
Yep,
I
it's
was saying
Shaunell.
Shaunell and Linda. How you doing? How you guys doing?
Pretty good. So,
That's good, good. They're from Indiana Crossroads Encounters. And if you guys don't mind, why don't you guys just tell us how you got started into this whole crazy field that we're in? And Shaunell, if you want to start, go first.
well, I've been doing this. I've been in the field for about 22 years. I married my husband 20 years ago. Actually, it'll be next week. And he
Oh,
introduced me to some of the Virginia battlefields. Well,
okay.
once you go to one battlefield and you start investigating, you kind of just have to go from next to the next. We lived in what they called the historic triangle, where the original Jamestown, Yorktown, and Williamsburg in that area. So I investigated all of those multiple times. I was investigating almost 3 nights a week,
Oh, wow.
solo.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that kind of got me into, when as we moved around from location to location, I'd purchase places like here in Indiana, we have Randolph County Asylum. I've been to Hales Bar Dam down in Tennessee, almost to the very state line. So, and a little more about myself. I am a death witch. I am a medium who has, some people say visions, some people say prophecies. So that's that's me.
That's good. Well, yeah. So, like, what was your like first validation of the paranormal? Like, okay, you were like, okay, there's something to this. There's something out there. What was your first validation?
I can't say that I was born with. Um, I can see when people pass. So when I was
Okay.
younger, I would tell my family members, hey, I've seen this, and it scared my family some. And then I've just kind of, and I started seeing how they would pass. And or if I can't go to funeral homes, I will tell you that it's one of those places that I'm like, oh, well, I see this person and this person. Hospitals is another one where I'm like, oh yeah, I there's somebody walking down the hall. There's no one walking down the hall for everybody else. So my validation is just I've just always they've always been there for me.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's. I don't know if it's okay for me to say it, but that sounds cool. Is it cool?
I after I'm 42 now, so I'm used to it.
Uh,
Most people they're like, "Oh, sounds real neat." Walk a week in my shoes.
yeah.
So yeah, but yeah,
Linda, are you there or
I
you just
think she's
frozen?
frozen. She's having such a hard time tonight.
Well, if you can hear us, Linda, log back out and then log back in. I can see the signal strength, and she's on yellow. It's green, yellow, and red, so she's on yellow. So maybe it has something to do with it too. But So you mentioned Death Witch. What exactly is that?
Okay. If I'm in the presence of somebody, I can tell when, where, and why and how they're gonna die. Um, I can tell you. I know more about people's death in the presence of them than they will their entire life.
Oh wow.
So yeah,
Okay. And then you mentioned that you now you said I can't go to funeral homes and I can't go to hospitals. Does that mean you don't
I
go?
don't go. I
Or
don't. I will not say I don't go. My mom had surgery today, so I will be going down and seeing her in the hospital this week.
okay,
It's just not like most people. You go, you stop at the you get a flower for someone, you take it to their room. Yeah, I want to get flowers for everybody I see, and most of the time, all the time, it's not what everybody else sees. I'll see a nurse
right,
sitting at a nurse's station that's not. I know they're not. So they're actually not there, but the nurse that's getting ready to sit down in that chair doesn't know there's someone actually there.
right. Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you that. Can you tell the difference?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, there's
okay,
just like a little haziness. I mean, I talk to a spirit just like I'm sitting here talking to you, but
okay,
there's just a little bit of a hazy or an aura, different color to them. So,
hmm
yeah.
okay, okay, cool. Um, yeah, what I was going to ask you too about you seeing people. Do you see that everywhere, or is that something that you can control?
I can control it.
Okay.
It's taken many years of practice and training. So, but yeah, I mean, as I get older, I can put when I go investigating, I put my blocks up just to see. I like to enjoy and see what my team sees on their side because it's not fair that I see them, I talk to them, and we're using equipment. It's cheating.
Right, right.
So
No, well, I don't think it's cheating. It's like I said, to me, it's pretty cool. It's not something that I can do or I can ever claim to be able to do, but like the only thing that I've ever been able to do really is number one, smell. I can like smell stuff
mhm,
from time to time when nobody else can. And then the times that my dad has been around me, I can like feel him. If
mhm,
I can just tell that he's around. And a few years ago, from like 2017 to 2019, I kind of went through a bad period, and he was there. He was around me that whole time, and kind of watching out for me. And that's how I felt. I felt that he was just there, kind of guiding me and making sure that
okay.
I got through okay. You know,
I always say that that everybody has a spirit guide. They may not present themselves to you. You may not never know they're there, but there's someone always watching out for you.
right? Yeah, and that I think that's good for people to know. For people to hear and to know that there's always someone watching out for them because I truly believe that because like I said, he was there for me, watching out. Miss Linda, are you there?
I'm here. I don't know what is like. I could probably move my other monitor up and do it that way. I all my devices decided that they were going to like my laptop is brought it up and then it decided that it was going to just freeze. Like it said that the page was being unresponsive, but I know it's not the case. That's my it's just my laptop. So
Yeah, yeah, we can kind of see something going on
yeah,
there.
that's my main laptop, my main screen.
Yeah, there you go.
I see you.
So give me one second. Gotta move like all my devices. 'Cause I
I
have all
actually met Linda um 2 years ago, just a little over
almost
2 years ago. It'll be 2 years
almost
in October.
Okay.
this up.
So did y'all? So you've only been investigating for like a year, correct?
Uh, yes. Linda asked me to investigate the mystery murders. I can never say the Moreau house here in Indiana. We had known each other a few months before that. She asked me to be a guest investigator with her. Shelly and I came out and assisted, and since then we've just been best friends. So
Okay.
Okay, good.
Does that look okay? Because I can't see myself because where the screen is broke.
Yeah, yeah, you're fine. You can hear us.
I can hear you and everything. Can you hear me?
Yep,
Oh,
sure can. So that's good.
Hi, Sky.
nice guy.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Linda? What got you into this, crazy field that we're all involved in?
I've been into it like my whole life. I'm a medium empath, more of an empath more than medium. Um, my very first experience, though, I would have to say, was here in my hometown where I live at now, is Claypool. I thought was what was I thought was an imaginary friend. She was an imaginary. She stuck with me until about a little, what, almost a year, just about a year before, after we met Shaunell.
Mhm.
Um, I've always been into the paranormal. Seventh grade. I'm 30 now, so however that old that I was back then. I started what I call my paranormal binders. Um, Different locations around the USA. I have done the research on them, and so more like a paranormal historian also. So I've
Oh, cool.
been into it pretty much my whole life.
Cool. So what was like your first validation? Do you remember your first like confirmation that there was something out there?
When I was my very first encounter, I lived next to the graveyard here in Claypool, Indiana, where I live at now, and what I thought was imaginary, but I kind of thought something was off because when I was playing outside, I could see like people walking in the graveyard, and just like one of the little girls stuck with me that's buried out there. I could take you straight to her grave. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, she took me to her grave and showed me that's where she was buried and told me her backstory of what happened to her and everything.
Yeah, see, that's really interesting. So what was where was y'all's first investigation at together? Is the
I guess you'd have to say it's the night we met.
okay.
Our first
Yes.
investigation. I can never say the woods. You're going to have to say it, Linda.
Okie Pinokie. We met in the middle of like, it was pretty funny because we were literally like the event that we were at.
Mhm.
We were literally across from each other and we didn't realize it. And I had stopped at her booth just a moment and I said, I'm not really into buying really crystals for anybody because I've had bad experiences with them. And I said, no offense to you guys. I'm pretty sure your guys' crystals are awesome. They all look amazing. And we went to the investigation at Okefenokee. It's a woods, haunted woods, and a trail for horses. And after that, we kind of just clicked. And ever since then, we've been inseparable.
Yep.
So where is this the Okefenokee? Where is that?
It's in Peru, Indiana.
Okay,
So, yeah.
because there is a famous story involving the Okefenokee swamp, but I don't know. It might not be the same place.
Mm,
So
I am one of those people that I'm not a big. I will not go back out there because of that night. I call it the. I just won't do it. I mean, it's not that it's not haunted, and it is. It's just it left a bad taste in my mouth. And now that it's closed, you can't go back out. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
I like keeping my truck intact. I mean, when you drive out to a woods and I would drive a 4x4 Chevy Silverado. And when my right front tire goes completely under, that's when I say, I'm not going back out. I wasn't ready to go through a swamp at that time.
it's
that's
really
funny.
busy back there. Like a
It
lot.
really is. It takes about a half hour to get back to the location where you can get to the trails. And if you're not familiar with it, driving at night is not
Yeah,
something that anybody suggests doing.
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I don't like going out places I don't know at nighttime, and you don't know the roads, and yeah, that's kind of scary.
And we
Um,
spent the day. We was at Para Unity in Peru, Indiana that day. It was their third. Yeah, it was their third event, and we went last year together. I am a crystal sales. I do a craft booth. all year long, and I sell crystals, jewelry, and carving and stuff. And then we're going again this year. So, but this year we're going at Indiana Crossroads, Moonlit Crystals, and Paris Sisters. So it's gonna be a little different.
I'm on the planning committee of it this year. So
So, what are some of your favorite places that you guys have investigated?
Randolph County.
Randolph House holds a place in my heart, but it's not my favorite.
Now I've only actively investigated since 2018. From 2018 back, from like October 2018 forward is my active investigating. But from the past, I could not do it because I was not in a healthy relationship at the time, and he was against it because he thought I was going to possess him or something. So I haven't been to many places, but Miss Shaunell and joining her team has opened me up to a lot of places. So
My favorite place, and I can't say it's a place, I used to live in Pensacola, Florida, 3 hours from New Orleans. Now, you have to think, a lot of the time, my husband's like, you know what? Go do your passion. I spent weeks traveling from plantation to plantation when he was out to sea because he was in the Navy. So I would have to say I spent like 6 weeks traveling around Louisiana, going to plantation to plantation, just investigating solo. So yeah, that's what I like to do.
I was about to say also K County Jail in Warsaw, Indiana. That's one of my favorite places too.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
That
That's
is,
local.
it is local. It's close to home, so
Do you have a certain place you like to investigate?
I've only done like two like official investigations when it comes to the paranormal. Which one was in Mineral Wells, here in Texas, and then the other one it was an old Civil War cemetery.
I've
So
been to Mineral Wells.
okay. Oh, really? Have you? Yeah, yeah. Haunted Hill
Yep.
House. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's a pretty cool little place. Nothing really crazy happened, but we had a lot of like small activities that that did go on, and
I had the cat ball go off a few times. Yeah.
right. Okay. Yeah, one of the guys he had this little penguin. It was a little toy penguin, and it had like this little clear hairs on top of its head.
Mhm.
So when he touched the hair, it would play music and the lights would go
Oh
off.
wow.
So he sat it in the room all by itself, and I'm standing in the doorway, and it's just going off all by itself. I was the only one there, and I wasn't anywhere near it. I was at the doorway. The chair was in the middle of the room. So that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
I'm sorry.
And then
You okay?
I'm fine. I'm just trying to get it looking back up. Yeah, I had shoulder surgery on Thursday, on the 1st, so trying to get comfortable in this sling is really hard to do. So
Mhm.
so have you guys ever been anywhere where you got like scared, like legit scared?
yes,
A couple times. Over in
Yeah,
20 years, I can say a couple times.
a couple times, yeah. Well, let's hear yours, Linda. What scares you?
I don't get scared very often when doing it, but the most one that I've got, like the one that stands out the most to me, and I was definitely scared. I'm not afraid to admit it on this one. And there's two different places, but the one that I would have to say that really jarred me was um I can't disclose the name of the location, and you know what I'm talking about, Shaunell.
Mhm.
So we were at a location. It was just me and Shaunell, and we were investigating because we got invited out to this place, and we were doing the Estes method, and so I had I had my headphones in, I had a blindfold on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I have my hands up to my ears because I can't, so I can hear. Well, I hear something.
It was my fault. You heard me, but
Well, that's not what got me though. So like I took my earphone out and I seen somebody sitting in a chair by the door, and I yelled for Shaunell. And then I looked over and there was this little like peephole thing, and it had like a cover on it, and it was raised up. And
Yeah.
then
We're
it got
investigating the Ku Klux Klan location.
yes, and it got
Okay.
like swinging. And I yelled for Shaunell, and she goes, "What?" I was like, "Did you wait? You're not. You weren't sitting in that chair just a minute ago." And she goes, "No." And I was like, "Okay, well, did you move the thing?" Because I thought she was messing with me, seeing how really scared she can get me scared. We couldn't debunk it. She wasn't tall enough to even remotely do it. I was barely tall enough to get this blocker or whatever it's called.
You have to keep in mind when she says we're not tall, I am 4'10",
I'm
and she is
5'9".
5 foot. So we're short
So
people.
yes, but I think the other time that I got scared on an investigation was at Randolph County. Um, we were out at the barn at Randolph County, and
That was fun.
it was a fun one. Um, she was saying something, and she said, "Guys," and it was me and Shelly with her, and we're like, "What? What's going on?" And I'm like, "Is okay, something behind me? Can I don't want to look behind me." And she goes, "Guys," and all of a sudden she starts moving backward, and I'm thinking something's really behind me now. And I'm like, she goes, "I'm being pulled backwards," and I literally saw her sweater being pulled backward, and I was like, "Let go of her," I'm freaked out because I'm like, I've being an empath and medium, I'm so used to them, communicating in different ways. I've never actually physically gotten like that kind of type of evidence. And so it did scare me. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to go back to back into the building, check on our team, our guests and everything, and I'll come back out later. And I never did come back out later, and I feel so bad because I had to lay down because my shoulder was killing me. But once we go back, I will go back out there. So
It's not the first time I've been pulled off my feet, and it won't be the last.
this time we'll be like, guys. The way she was saying guys, though, it literally, I mean, it did.
Well, if I didn't tell you, because I already seen what was going to happen, if I didn't inform you, you guys would both of my girls. Shelly's only been investigating actively. She's been interested in the paranormal her whole life, but until I formed a team with her, um, she never been into a location. So when I talk to them, I have to let them know what's going on, what I see, So that was my way of saying, guys, there's something. So I scared Linda, but it was pretty cool. She did actually get to see my, because I was it was 52 degrees out that night, and I had my my paranormal jacket on. And the fact that she actually got to see it tried being pulled off of me, which for me, that was pretty cool for her.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good experience. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it did scare me. I'm not afraid to admit it, because I live by this. All of us paranormal investigators, we get scared at some point in time in an investigation. And if you look at me and tell me you don't get scared, I'm gonna look at you flat in the face and say you're a liar, because the paranormal is unexpected. Something could happen at any point in time, and you sitting in a dark room doing an EVP session and it's really quiet, and all of a sudden a big bang comes out. You can't tell me that you're not going to jump. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. Yeah. I was telling Shaunell before we came on, the house I used to live in, we had a lot of activity in that house. It was a very active house. I woke up, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I saw this big shadow figure standing next to the bed, and it scared the hell out of me. And I threw a kick at it, you know, but it wasn't trying to scare me. You know what I'm saying?
right.
It wasn't like trying to like I'm gonna get you or anything. You know, it was just standing there, and it scared me. But I don't think that it was an intentional. You know, so yeah, the paranormal can be scary, and like I said, we all heard uh, walking around the house. We've heard footsteps, and we've heard things being moved, shower coming on, the sink in the kitchen coming on. Uh, we all saw, I don't know if you want to call them shadow figures because they were more like smoky, misty figures walking around. We all saw those kind of figures, uh, and it was scary. But whatever was there wasn't trying to scare us. You know.
He was just trying to get your attention. Hey, I'm here, by the way. Don't, just so you
Right.
know.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. And I think a lot of people get scared for no reason, but I'm
I
not
did
blaming them either because
once. I will admit
yeah.
that. Um, I was younger. I will admit we all went through the whole young, you get out of high school, you think you're bad, you're in college. Bunch of us girls decided to go up to um, Lake Michigan and have a camp. So I put my blocks up. I'm all ready. Grab us some wine. I'm good. I'm like, I'm not going to see anything tonight. Yeah. When I watch that, now I see that stuff every single day. I told you both that. I see it. I hear it. I feel it. I wasn't ready for sitting on the beach in my tent, going to bed, and my tent opens up and goes, "Hi." I'd been drinking. I thought I was good. And I'm like, "Hi." Everybody around me goes, "Who are you talking to?" Her. I was done. They're all like, I was like, "She's not real. She's not real." I'm someone who's dealt with this all my life. I got up. I was like, "I'm done. I'm done. I'm scared. I'm done." I got in my car and drove the 4 hours back home.
You never told me that story.
I was like, "I'm
Oh
done."
my goodness.
I was like, no more bottles of wine camping and around haunted areas. And I haven't done that yet. I'll drink quiet, but no, I will never pull my blocks up again and go,
When,
let's do this. No.
I'll make sure you don't have anything for our camping weekend. How about that?
But when that tent flaps opened up and everybody's going, it's like, nope, I'm not seeing it. No, I got scared that night, and I shouldn't have. That's the bad thing. I was like, I shouldn't be scared. But yeah.
That's
But
amazing, Shaunell.
Hmm?
something that I always say is that I think there's a lot of paranormal activity in the woods or in the forest, and people just don't know or don't think about it. And right away they go to like Bigfoot or any kind of other cryptid. You know, when they
Yeah.
hear the footsteps, they hear the voices, or they hear, uh, stuff breaking or even stuff getting thrown at them. Right away they go, "Well, that's a Bigfoot doing that." I think a lot of that stuff is actually a lot more paranormal than what people think that goes on.
Well, I mean, like next weekend, my husband's taking me to the Michigan Dunes for our wedding anniversary. I told him, I go, you know what? There's one we can go, but there's one place I want to go because we're planning on maybe camping on the Michigan Dunes. It's like I'm going to try this. I go, but if I drink and that woman comes back at me again, because everybody's heard about the woman in white along the Michigan Indiana Dunes. I can say I've seen her a few times, but she's not scaring me this time. Leaving my blocks down. I'm ready for her.
I love you, Shaunell.
That's the words
Oh,
coming out of my mouth.
I know. You never know. You never. Shaunell she's an amazing person. She's
Yeah.
blunt, straightforward, and like she said, you never know what's going to come out of her mouth.
I
And
tell you what, I seen her. I tell you.
I know. She told me that I was going to have surgery before August on my shoulder. But hey, we kind of altered the tenth. So that was a good thing.
So, Chanel, do you see any of the same people? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they follow you around, but do you just see any of the same people? You know, if that makes sense?
Yes, I have my entourage. You mean?
Yeah, you're on.
Yeah, I've got. Um, I have my grandfather has been with me since I've been 3. Uh, I told my father, I was like, okay, he's going to pass away in a few days. You need to see Grandpa. Well, that didn't happen, and he's been with, he's like, well, you've seen me. I explained everything, how it was going to happen, um, down to it's going to happen at 1:05 a.m. and at 37 seconds past. Well, I see he all the time. He comes around, comes in and out, and says, "Hi, how you doing?" And that would be, like I said, I'm 42, and I was 3. If I go to a certain friend's home or I'll see people along the streets, I used to work in an office across the way, just down the road from a cemetery. And as I would pass that cemetery, the same people, well, to me, they're people. They're always going to be people. Would like as I would, they like wait for me because they knew I could see them at the front of the cemetery at the gates, which for me that was a good morning present. So, uh, yeah, I mean, there's some that just they're in and out all the time. I can like right now I have 3 back here chilling, and then I have Blake, my familiar. If I call him little, he'll kill me.
Well, Blake Little.
Yeah, I call Blake little. Um,
Balaki. The Balaki's right there.
yeah, Blake is my familiar, and I told you about him. So yeah.
Okay. What about animals?
Well, I can tell you this. Uh, Everybody's like, oh, they pass on. Not all the time. Like you have I want to say a rabbit around you sometimes. Does that sound familiar?
Oh, I've never had a rabbit.
Well, it might not be a rabbit, but that's what I'm feeling from just being like here. Um,
Okay. It might be my boxer because he was very jumpy and very active dog. Yeah.
like I said,
Yeah.
um,
If I told my kids right now, hey, do you think he acted like a rabbit? They would probably say, yeah, he acted like a
that
damn
could be it. Yep.
rabbit.
Like Linda, she has a German Shepherd that's with her all the time. It don't matter where Linda's at. She's with her. I have my mom. She has she's Toji, which was a I cannot I can to me this looks like a mutt, but she'll tell you it's the best puppy in the world. But yeah, I grew up thinking it was real there for a while, going, oh, we have a Chihuahua. No, Toji wasn't real for everybody else, but Toji was real to me.
That's good.
So yeah, animals all the time. If they had us, if I always say if they have a soul and they lived and breathed, they're still there.
So my German Shepherd, I miss her, but I know she's with me at all times. I had to put her down in December, so she was my baby. I cried and cried. I still cry to today. And then Miss
Yeah.
Shaunell being the
Yeah.
amazing lady.
Yeah, my boxer passed away in 2019, and I love that dog so much. We all love them, and we still talk about him. I mean, every 3 or 4 days his name comes up. We talk about him. We talk about him. So he was such a good dog. He was
So
so
there's your
so
rabbit, because that's what I was going off of. I was like, hopping. Why do I keep feeling hopping from you? So I was guessing a rabbit.
yeah.
No.
Well, he would like bounce around. Because when he'd get happy,
Mhm,
he would bounce around. Like when we'd come home, he'd act like he hadn't seen us. You know how dogs are.
mhm.
They act like they hadn't seen you in 6 months, like you were on deployment or something.
That's my
You
pipper.
just walk outside and get the mail and come back inside. He was happy. Yeah, he was a good dog. So, what do you guys have coming up as far as investigations? Do you have anything planned?
Right now, I'm working with the Barbie Hotel here in the area that I'm at. Everybody knows the famous Barbie Hotel, I would think. John Dillinger, all the gangsters from Chicago has come down. At one time, came down. Barbie Hotel is actually my private location that I go in and I help the owner with. We'll be going to the Moreau House in September, Linda,
Yeah, September 15th.
and I'm going to be doing some investigating with a friend of mine, Sky. We're she has a private location that she's slowly going to be starting opening up for a haunted B&B. Airbnb is what it's going to be. So I'm working on with her with that one.
We have our live investigation this weekend at another undisclosed location.
Yeah, we're going to try something for our podcast. So that's going to be interesting.
Oh, nice.
So,
Yeah, tell everybody about your podcast since you brought it up.
this is all Linda.
Our
I blame
podcast?
her.
Well, I am the IT person of the group. So I just out of the blue one day asked her if she wanted to do a podcast, and she was like, no, I don't want to do a podcast. Okay, I said, but if you think about it, offer still stands. And about a month or so later, she was like, do you still want to do the podcast? I said, well, yeah, let's go for it. Me and Shelly all do the podcast together. And I said, well, that's fine, but we need to come up with a name and stuff. And she had a list of names. And she told me, she goes, here, this is what I could come up with. So, and Paris Sister Circle podcast is what stood out to us.
It was the list of names I had for my team. I was like, here, have the list of names I was going to use.
So we went with Paris Sister Circle podcast. Now there is another Paris Sister, but it's called Paris Sisters. But we put the circle in there. So we've been doing it since October of last year. We've had a couple of guests, some pretty amazing guests on our show, and we're not just a paranormal podcast, though. We do crystal talk, and then we do paranormal history, but we also have this new segment that we're doing that's been doing pretty amazing. It's called Serial Killers Across the Ponds. So we both research a serial killer from a certain time period, and we both talk about them, but we don't do the well known. So we don't do like H.H. Holmes, Jack the Ripper, and all of them stuff. All those guys. Miss Shaunell over here, she can get some pretty gruesome serial killers.
I love the show How to Get Away with Murder. That was one of my favorite shows. So, it just goes up my alley.
Make your husband look at you funny?
No, he doesn't. He goes, it's you.
That's good.
So,
so like here in Houston, I live in the area that I live in is called the Heights.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a serial killer like in the 70s that lived here in the Heights. And I had a guest on. He lives in the Houston area. He don't exactly live in Houston itself. But when I told him I live here in the Heights, he was like, "Hey, they had his name was the Candyman. That's what they called him." And,
yeah.
Yeah. And so he's like, I went to a party and I went to his house, and there was a party at that guy's house, and he killed like a bunch of like teenage boys.
Oh, and you're hanging out.
Yeah, he was there hanging out with them. Yeah, I mean that's crazy. Yeah, so.
Sorry, I was reading the comment because I can't really read it on the screen when you bring it up. So
yeah, we're always looking for guests. So if you want to come on, you can join us.
Yep. We did stop doing guests for a little bit there. It was just me and her. But I think we're going to start up, but we're going to go slow this time. So, and we were having a guest, 1 to 2 guests about every month. So I honestly think I haven't talked to her about this yet, but doing maybe 1 every other month. But
right now, I'm really into the
serial
killers across the pond. Last night's show was so much fun. It really was.
It was.
I did the aqueduct murder, the first serial killer of Portugal.
Yeah. And then I actually found one that I could actually pronounce his name. My thing has been England. She doesn't do England serial killers, so
No.
I do the England serial killers. It's something with, I don't know. Every time I do, all of our serial killers across the pond episodes that we've done so far, I have found serial killers in England. So she's like, I'm staying away from England. That's your thing. I said, good. That's my thing.
Well, I've done Russia, Italy, and Portugal. So,
Portugal.
mhm. Yeah, last night's was fun because the
It was
serial
just
killer that I picked is actually almost 200 years ago is when he was first when he was hung, and they still have his head in a jar in the
Oh wow.
Lisbon Medical Museum. So
Do
you
you
can go
still
see
have the
that today.
picture? She
So,
showed me that. She showed that on the podcast last night. And I was like, oh my.
Oh, you had a picture?
I
Yeah.
still do.
Oh wow.
Well, we try to print them off so people know, kind of relate to who we're talking about. But yeah, I have a
Yeah.
picture of his head in a jar. So
I unfortunately could not do anything because my dominant hand is the shoulder I had surgery on. So I did it all off my phone.
Do you guys do like paracons or do any events?
Yeah.
we're doing this year. We'll be doing the Hannah House in downtown Indy
Paranormal Day celebrations next.
on August 12th. The very next weekend, we're doing Indiana State Sanatorium on August 19th.
I can't wait for that one.
And then on October 21st, I think, we'll be doing Para Unity in Peru again. We pretty much go back to Para Unity every year because that's where we met.
Yeah, that's where we
Okay.
met. So yep. And then Paranormal Day celebration down at the Hannah House. That holds a special place in my heart. I will always forever go to that one, no matter if I'm doing the event myself or with the team or just visiting. Um, that event, I was supposed to go with my mom to and do the event when I had my own old team before Miss Shaunell here bought it.
I did. I
She
bought the
bought
whole
the
thing.
team, she bought everything. So, but unfortunately, my mom passed away beforehand. So I made it my mission to go down to this event. And without this event, I wouldn't have been invited to Para Unity, and I would have never met my best friend. So
Yeah, yeah. So I was going to ask you too, and I hope it doesn't, uh, invoke any bad memories or any sad memories. But what are your guys' thoughts now, like on death?
On death?
Yeah, but like we all lost someone, right? Like I lost my dad. My dad was my best friend, and it really, really hit me hard.
Mhm.
But after a while of getting more and more involved into this stuff, this actually helped me heal from that,
Mhm.
and it helped me
I'll let
realize
Linda
that.
ask because you just asked a death witch what she thought about death. So I've got an answer for you.
when I think about death, I've always thought about, it's when it's your time, it's your time. You can't control
Right,
it. Um, I know when my mom passed away, it hit me pretty hard, and we all go through those stages of grief.
right,
But now I know she's in a better place, and I can communicate with her at any point in time that I want to, because she never fully left me.
right.
But it's whenever my time is up, my time is up, and I know I'm going to be still earthbound, haunting whoever I want, and causing a lot of hell.
Yeah,
So, I mean, that's my views on death now. I mean, the paranormal, being into it my whole life and researching it and everything, it's like, it comes natural. So it's like, I can't be mad, but then again, I can be mad. So, especially when my closest loved ones, like today is
right.
my uncle's 12th year of being passed away. So,
I'll just put it straightforward. If you're born, you breathe, you're going to pass away. You live life every day you have it. There's people like me who that can, I start talking to somebody at work going, I know To me, I look at it as I know your timestamp. I don't tell the people that. It's like, oh yeah, I know, that's not how I'm. But you can ask Linda. I create fear among some of the people that I talk with, don't I? They look at me, they go, it's like, so how you feeling? Have you seen a doctor lately? That's how I'm kind of critical. And they're going, a doctor's like, yeah, I want to go see that doctor. But death is a part of everything we do. It's just a cycle. It's just like a tree. In the spring, everything becomes new. And then the winter, everything is shed and hibernates and starts over. Every soul does the same thing. So a lot of people think, oh, well, you're in the paranormal because that's kind of what your religion is. No, I'm in the paranormal because I like to talk to people that doesn't, if I'm talking to people like that's interested in what I am instead of me walking around going, hi, Joe, how are you? Who's Joe and where's he at? It makes me not look so crazy.
You're crazy whether you like it or not. So,
hey, I've had flat-out conversations at asylums, jails, in the middle of parks, conversations with people, and people's going, who's she talking to? So my friends, they know, they're like, oh, you're in a room alone, but who you talking to? What's going on here? Who we got? I go, oh, throw something out there. I'll show you.
Like in 2022, in April, my mom turned 72. We had a party for her, and that was on a Sunday. On that Monday, my brother, my uncle, which is my dad's twin brother, and my aunt and my niece were going to go to the cemetery. Go visit my dad's gravesite. And so I called my brother on that Tuesday to see how the trip went on that Monday. He's like, "Oh no, we wind up not going because it rained all day Monday, so it was just too muddy, so we just didn't go." I said, "Okay, cool." He said, "But I got something to tell you." At the party, Madison, which is my youngest niece, at the time she was 15, she came up to my brother at the party and was like, "Hey, I keep hearing Grandpa's voice, and he's saying that he's happy that we threw the party for my mom, that he was proud of us for throwing the party, and that she deserved it, right?" I said, "Well, that's cool, and I still didn't think too much of it." He goes, "But check it out." He goes, when I called Uncle James Monday, with like I said, my dad's twin brother, he said I called Uncle James just to tell him let's not go to the cemetery since it was raining." And Uncle Jim's like, "Yeah, we're just planning for some other day." My uncle said, "But I got something to tell you. Your aunt, when we're at the party, she told me that she heard your dad's voice, and that he was telling her that he was glad she was having the party, and that she deserved it, and that when her time came, that he would be there for her." And my aunt and my niece, neither one of them knew that the other one had heard my dad's voice. You know? And it was basically the same message. I just thought that was pretty cool, and I just kind of want to get your ideas on that. Linda, you can go first.
that honestly, with kids, for instance, my soon to be 9-year-old daughter, she is our junior investigator. She's heavily into the paranormal. She is showing signs of being gifted, just like her mom, if not a little bit more gifted than her mom. She's been with us on an investigation. I believe that any kid can look at it, and say, "Hey, I hear this," and they can communicate as much, with the energy around a party. Sorry, my shoulder is it's kind of got like this aching going on. So they communicate with by energy, and the more energy they have, the more they can able to help communicate. So being able to hear people talk to you and there's nobody there, either they have enough energy to communicate or that person is gifted. Now it is said that, and I believe that all kids can hear and see them, and they grow out of it by a certain age. But some kids grow up to be like me and Shaunell, and they don't have any guidance, and it scares them because they keep seeing it. But like my soon to be 9 year old Maya, she is amazed at the paranormal, and she will sit here on her tablet and she'll watch things. And she's proven to me over and over and over again that she is able to do things. She doesn't dream, which is really, I found,
She
unusual
does.
for. I know she
Yes,
doesn't
she
dream
does.
patterns. She dreams with about Shaunell.
Mhm.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, she won't.
I hope so.
She won't tell me
I
what
only
those.
jump into my premonitions sometimes.
So, but yeah, it's pretty cool. And sometimes us adults don't even realize it. We just blow it off like, yeah, I'm hearing things because I'm just not paying attention, or they think they leave the TV or something on, and they think they're going crazy because sometimes us adults don't even know that we have those gifts.
I think everybody, if there's someone that you're attached to and they really want you to hear or acknowledge something, they will find the way to tell you. And I find that when people are in more, like you said, within a party or gathering, and I hear this a lot around the holidays, people's like, "Oh, I swear I can feel Grandma here. Grandma's sitting right next to him." I've been told, hey, can you come over? I've been asked to people's houses, going, can you just chill with us? And I'm going, you want me to come to your house? And then they're like, yeah, we just, there's something going on. We keep hearing things. We just want you to acknowledge. Well, I love Sky's littles. She, uh, so yeah, she does. You told me
Yeah,
that.
let me read a comment just for those who might be watching later on. It says, Sky says, my 5-year-old daughter dreams of me, tells me she protects me during my investigations when I'm gone.
Hmm. Yep. Yep, I've known that for a while about Sky. Her kids are very protective of her.
That's another thing. My dad appears in my dreams.
Hmm.
Well, I don't say he appears. I've only had like maybe 4 dreams of him. Um, but he's like appeared in dreams of like my niece and my nephew, and he never talks. There's no talking, but it's like I understand everything. I don't know. It's
Are
like
you sure it's you're only remembering 4 times?
well, I was gonna say that too. I don't remember all my dreams, right? I don't. Um, most of the dreams that I remember, there are those very vivid dreams. Like last night, as a matter of fact, I was telling my friend Shannon. Last night, I had a dream that I was seeing someone to get like a past life regression,
Hmm.
you know, and I woke up before we did it, but I was like, you know,
Well, I can tell you, I've had 64 lives. So,
oh wow,
um, me going back and walking through my own shoes, learning things has been interesting. But little Miss Maya, Linda's daughter, she visits me a lot. And I pretty much have put a bubble around her to where she can only see me, but I can see into, whatever she'll pull me into her dreams, but she won't remember what she's dreaming. Kind of keeps me on the, okay, let me keep an eye on you. She's going to be a very strong medium when she grows up. I've already seen it, which, you know, I'm excited. And I've told her many times, Linda's going to go, what have you done to my daughter? She's my little.
She is.
But yeah.
She is going through Shaunell's like little like. She cannot wait to go back to the jail with us to investigate. She's always asking me, "Mommy, when are we going to do this?" Or she was upset because she couldn't join us at Randolph this year. Um, she really wanted to go, but I told her she couldn't go. So, but if she knows I'm going to go see Shaunell, which I told them about me coming up to see you on Saturday. And she goes, "Oh, my Shaunell!" And like she screamed it in the phone. I'm like, having to hold the phone away because they're visiting their great aunt right now, um, for about a couple of days. It'll be only a couple of days, so I can have a little bit of rest without having to run around and chase three kids. um, and so anytime I go see Shaunell, she's always, "Can I go? Can I go?"
That's my girl.
And I'm pretty sure she'll probably end up joining us on Sunday, just so you know.
I figured. So, but yeah, dreams are a gateway. A lot of people, because you have to think, you have three levels of sleep. You have your deep sleep, you have your REM sleep, and then you have your light sleep. But it's in between each level of sleep is where you're going to find your dreams. Your deep sleep and your REM sleep, you're going to see, you may remember. This is where I find people will communicate best. But what you remember most is what's between your REM and your light sleep. If there's someone trying to communicate to you, you will remember it here.
Oh,
And a
definitely.
lot of people will look at that as, okay, yeah, I had a dream about so and so, or I had a really weird dream. Dreams mean things. Everything happens for a reason. What it's up in here. Some people's like, oh, it's just my subconscious going crazy. Are you sure about that?
The dream that I had last night that jolted me awake from a dead sleep, it scared me. It literally did. I honestly, it's pretty much, it's not the same dream that I've had. It's not the same exact one. I've had the same exact one 3 times in a row, but now the dreams have been similar to what I've been, when I jumped 3 times in a row. Um, it's I'm trying to figure out the message, but I can't figure it out. And the only thing that I can figure out is that someone's going to break into my house and come into me and my boyfriend's bedroom and start shooting at us. That's the only thing I can think of. I honestly, that is my dream.
We've talked about that. You've had it several times. We've
Oh, this
decoded
one,
it. You
this
just
one
keep
was new.
going back to the
No,
same thing.
this one was new though. I mean, it was scary because it jolted me awake because like our bedroom door was actually open this time, Shaunell,
Mhm.
and I was laying there and I'm in my sling when this happens. So I'm like, what in the world is? I couldn't go back to sleep. I could not. It scared me that bad, and so it's
One of the weirdest dreams that I had, where my dad was at, it involved him, but he was there. My uncle Joe, the guy that I'm named after, he was there. He passed away. And my uncle Abel, who's passed away, my aunt B, who passed away. They were all there, and I don't know where we were at, but it was some kind of, I don't know, train station, airport, some kind of depot like that, because people were coming and going. They had luggage, you know, and uh, so I saw them, and none of them talked to me, but they walked right by me. My dad was sitting down, so I went and sat down with my dad. I had my grandson with me, and I introduced him, to my grandson because he had never met my grandson. That was kind of a strange dream, and I wonder if I went somewhere where people come and go.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you remember like the way people were dressed?
Everyone was dressed not like super nice, but like my uncle Joe, he actually had on like a suit, which he never wore a suit. If you ever know my Uncle Joe, he would never wear a suit, but in the dream he had a suit. Uh, my uncle Abel, he was in nice jeans, boots, and like a dress shirt. My dad always dressed nice.
Mm-hmm.
He always dressed nice, so he had on his dress pants and a dress shirt also. My aunt B, she may have been dressed kind of nice too, like a dress pants and a dress shirt also. She walked right by me, didn't say anything. My uncle Joe walked right by me, didn't say anything. My uncle Abel was sitting down on a chair talking to my two cousins, and he just looked up at me and smiled at me. He always had this smile, and so he smiled at me. And I saw my dad, and I went and sat down next to my dad, and I had Eli with me. And my uncle was there, my dad's twin brother. and then my brother was there too, and we were just kind of talking to my dad. My dad, and like I said, those four dreams that I vividly remember, my dad never said anything to me. He's never spoken to me. Just looked at me, and I kind of just knew what he was saying.
Kind of observing what's going on, letting you know he's there, letting you introduce your grandson. Kind of got the feel that what sound about right?
Right? Yeah, yeah,
Just kind of his way of saying, "Hey, I'm around you."
yeah. Like I said, I don't know if Linda heard that story, but he was always around me for those 2 years where I was going through a bad time, and I don't feel him around anymore. I don't know if he comes around, but I certainly don't feel him anymore, which I'm okay with. I'm in a much better place. I don't need him around. It's
You
not in a bad way, but
feel that he's around, but I get the feeling that he still checks in on you. Is the feeling I get when you were telling me that? Like, okay, this is his way of saying I'm checking in, seeing how. I'm not gonna say anything to you because you don't need it.
right,
Just one of those.
right, yeah,
I'm here.
yeah, exactly, and that's how I feel. That he knows I don't need him anymore, or not anymore. But you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I don't need him to
yeah.
watch over me. I'm good now. you
You're in a
know,
good place.
yeah, I'm in a good place. Yeah, yeah. So, well, man, we already come up on our hour here.
Wow.
You guys want to promote any of your Facebook pages, TikToks, Instagrams,
Um.
YouTube
Well,
channels?
our Facebook page is Indiana Crossroads Encounter at Facebook. I can never remember. I mean, we have Parent Sister Circle podcast on Facebook, and I'm just going to put in a little. Like I said, I sell crystals for a living at different craft shows online, and Linda's my IT. She does my site, so it's Moonlight Crystals Jewelry.
She's the IT person who had trouble logging on just a while ago.
Yeah, that's what I found out. I was like, the IT person can't log on.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, okay. I told her, I said, I did not take down my setup because my setup's here in my living room, like my desk and everything is in my living room. So I didn't tear down my setup from our podcast last night. So I didn't think that anything of it. And so, and my external webcam wasn't working. Nothing was working. So I was like, you know what? Fine. I'll just bring, because I have it's an all-in-one computer, thank goodness. So I have it sitting underneath my desk with my external monitor on my desk. So I should have just done that in the beginning. I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, I'm the IT person, and I couldn't even get myself on the show. You could hear me, but you couldn't see me.
Right, yeah.
So
Well, if you guys aren't members of my Beyond the Woodline fan page, join it, and you guys can share whatever you guys want to share, your store, your jewelry, whatever you got going on, your podcast, any events you've got going on. Post them on there and share it.
Awesome.
You guys are more than welcome to do
No,
that.
thank you.
awesome.
And with that being said, you guys have anything else you want to add or say, or
No,
any words of
pretty
wisdom?
much. Thank you for having us tonight. It's actually been a real pleasure.
It
Yeah,
has
yes, we're really glad to have some fun with you guys. Yeah. You guys hold on real quick. I'm gonna log off here, but let me tell everybody in the chat room. Thank you guys for participating. You guys always do a great job, and thanks for the comments. I really appreciate the comments. A lot. I like you when you guys participate, so thank you for doing that. And I'll have a show next Monday, which I think I'm gonna start doing Mondays. I was doing just random days, but now I'm starting to do Mondays. So it just helps me out a little bit more. I don't have to spread myself so thin, but yeah, I got a show next Monday, and I hope you guys tune in for that. And you two gals, please